the class of classlessness. Now, there's two very prominent trains in games, and there's a ton of little splinter factions off of this. But you have classes, and you have games that don't have classes. Different deals. I have found that while I do enjoy archetypes, I like a fiery barbarian or a religious individual, a priest, paladin, a holy man, a scoundrel, a berserker, a pirate. All these things can be fucking awesome. I found I don't like classes, and this is part of the reason why I like 3.5 D&D, because it has the softest classes of any of the versions of D&D. And from building my own game system, I have really zeroed in on what I like and what I don't like, and what I think produces a superior game and what I think produces an inferior game. Now, the mechanics of a game are incredibly important, how the game plays out. If you don't think so, you're incorrect. You can always go through and gut a system out, but that is gutting a system out. When you play a system as written, when you start tweaking things, you can overall cause a lot of problems for yourself, particularly when you are in that learning stages and don't quite know what you're doing. But for me, this is what I found that I like. I want a system that accommodates what I have up here. Now, I don't mean to say, oh, well, we're playing Star Wars, and I designed a character that's 10,000 times more powerful than Darth Vader. That's what I want. Off we go. That's something stupid like that. But the idea of the theme is like, okay, well, I want my character to be able to be good at this and this. I want to have a little bit of this. I don't have a bit of this. And with 3.5, you kind of have those abilities. You could say, okay, look, I really want to have a lot of skills. So, I've taken like these rogue levels, to support my character concept of how I'm like a cook. I mean, I don't know nothing about finding traps. So, but I can cook, and I'm going to take not roguey type skills. I'm going to take like professional cooking, and I'm going to take skill focus on that. Yeah, I'm going to cook some food. You see, so you take on that, and then you can go. So, well, I had this whole plot line, and I found out that I'm actually related to dragons. So I learned to become like some sorcerer. I get some sorcerer levels. So maybe you only have 1 or 2 or 4. Who knows? A 20 level character. Maybe you get 3 or 4 levels in there, and that's because you have that story, that story arc. And I like the fact that the game can support that. The AD&D model, I don't think works when you play a game with me. It just doesn't, because you have this scenario, right? Your character becomes full of religion. It's like, you could dual class. You could dual class a human. That elf was not ever going to be a cleric, though, ever. Now you might say, oh well, you should try to do this or that, but I mean, you couldn't hit up on it. And if it made sense in that game, fucking go with it. Or you can say, oh well, you could house. No, you're done. As soon as you go, you can house rule. You're done, because you can house rule anything, anywhere, ever, anytime. You can house rule anything. You could say, well, I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons. I pull out a Vampire Masquerade book and say, okay, roll your 10 siders. This is D&D. I have questions here. You can say that's house rule D&D. You understand? That's what I'm saying is house rules are, while they should really always be used, at the same time they're complete bullshit, because that's not the game anymore. You have alternate to a degree, and with subtle altercation, or alteration, I should say, but the more you do, the less it is. And for me, what I found out is I don't like classes. That's why I like 3.5, is because it has the softest classes there. So if you don't like a class, the harder a class is, the less you're going to like it. Give an example. If you play an elf fighter in AD&D, you're an elf fighter. That's it. You're done. You will never be anything else. You will never change. You will never have anything else but elf fighter. That's it. You're like, oh, we had this cool story where I would learn magic stuff. Nope, you don't get those stories. Oh, well, those have been fun. Yeah, they would have been, but no, you don't get fun. Oh, I see. No, I don't work that idea. So when I see D&D 3.5, right? You can say, okay, I know fighter, and maybe you get like 3 levels of fighter, and you're a kick-ass fighter, but all of a sudden you get this whole storyline around religion, or about learning necromancy, or about becoming an enchanter, or maybe you're a bard or something, and it all flares up. You're like, oh hell yeah, we're gonna rock and roll with that and have a good time. Maybe you have this deal where you become a rogue, and people are gonna go, I know in the comments, oh, well, you could house rules. No, it's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how does the system support your ability to produce that, and I'm talking about me. These are my preferences. These are my ideas here. Okay, so you may really like the idea of not having additional choices. That might be fun for you. No fucking idea why. I don't understand that. Okay, so for me, the problem with a class system is you are denied additional options, additional choices. With a classless system, you can still make that paladin. You understand? You can still make that ranger. You can still make that barbarian, or that hexblade, or that blade singer, or that enchanter. Whatever it is, you can still make that, because you're like, well, that's my idea. That's what I want to do. Here it is. And when I was designing systems, I wanted to make the game that would be the absolute most fun for me to play. It would be the absolute best supporter that I could possibly produce of my style, because I know a lot of people enjoy that style, and I wanted the game to express in terms, I don't want to reveal too much, but I wanted to express in terms of, well, let me not even tell you that, because that is a bit of a reveal. You don't get those spoilers just yet. Now, I think that's really an important thing to think about. What do you want out of the game? How can the system best support your play? And that's a very obvious. It's no way an end all be all, but a very obvious deal is classes, because classes themselves are restricted. Even if you have this modular 3.5 where you take one, and that's still pretty good. I mean, it's pretty good. I'm not like, I don't ever play 3.5 D&D. No, we play it, enjoy it, have a good time with it. But it creates inherent annoyances. Like, well, I want to get that power from 3rd level swashbuckler, but I still want to keep my paladin smite on, and do this deal over here. I mean, if you have a system that allows you to buy and choose as you like, you can just do those things. You're not going to be having to take all these other things and get this whole array of other abilities that you're like, well, those don't make any sense for me. That's not my concept right there. You understand? You can build what you like and make your character in a way that it's going to really work for you. And that's a really important thing to do, to have the concept here come out on paper. That's so extraordinarily amazing. That's why I hate dice rolling for stat generation so much, because it's like the dice get to play, and the dice don't care. You understand? It doesn't make any sense. I don't want to let the dice have fun, because I'm like, oh well, I didn't really see my character having an 18 and a 7, and I didn't really see having a bunch of 11s besides that. This is not what I want. I want these stats instead, this different array. I want stats that more or less, and you got to be able to give a little bit on either side, I think, but overall, when you have extremes, and then it just doesn't match up. Like, well, I saw my character having all 12s. It's like, well, yeah, okay, and here's why, and here's why, and here's why, and here's why. These are 12s. Okay, I got all 13s. Okay, I can roll with that too. It came out to be all 11s. All right, that's fine. But it's like, well, you got a 4 and a 9 and 3 18s. It's like, well, wait, that's not what I wanted. It's a completely different character, right? I can't come to you and say, oh, my character has all 12s, and then instead I roll 3 18s, a 5, a 4, and a 7. Right? That's not the same guy. There's no world where those are the same two people. It just no longer works. You're like, hey, you got 3 18s. It's like, well, that's fine and all, dude, but I wanted 6 12s. Not to say that I want 6 12s, but to show a difference. So it's like, well, I want a 14 and a 10, and I want an 8 over here. Maybe we go to a 13 on this one. Whatever it is, to make the character believable there. But I'm getting sidetracked, so I digress from that. But I want to talk about classes and classlessness. I want to hear what you guys have to say. What you think are the strengths of a class-based system? outside of it just having been there, does it have any place in modern gaming? Is it an antiquated idea that just keeps being propelled forward because you don't know how to drop it? Or does it have a tremendous amount of merit to you? Now, I'm not talking about archetype. Do not confuse. Archetypes are great, and you can have those. Any classless system worth a damn will allow you to make every archetype you have. Will allow you to make them all. You can make your necromancer or your paladin or your rogue. So we're not talking about that. You can still make him. You could just like make your rogue more different. You know, you can make your rogue. It's like, well, I see my rogue as being more of a fighter. So, well, I see my rogue as being more of a scholar. Oh, well, I see my rogue, you know, doing this, or my rogue is good with these weapons instead of these weapons. You understand? So now we can all play 6 rogues, and they're extraordinarily different, right? But we're still in that mindset because our characters will stab you in the throat, throw some sand in your eye, kick you in the balls, and take your loot. That's it. You see, or whatever else they're going to do. So it creates an interesting deal. But I want to hear, your main man wants to hear, you, my horde, what do you think about classes and about classlessness? Let's get a discussion going. Let's get some comments going. If you want to hit video responses, they're always welcome too. Hit those in. If you need to leave like 12 comments, hit them. I don't care. Well, trust me, I'm never like, hey, you have too many comments. People get ashamed or feel funny about that. I don't care. Express yourself as however you need to. It's all good here in the realm of your main man. So thank you for your comments. I appreciate them. And let's hear what you have to say about classes and classlessness.